Hey, it's Jordan with TYT Politics. I'm outside of the federal courthouse in Bismarck, North Dakota, and I just witnessed my first taste of North Dakota justice or injustice. I was not allowed to bring a phone in or any camera equipment, so I wasn't able to actually get video of it. But there's a hearing today for a water protector named Michael Markus. He's been a leader at camp, and he has had many charges levied against him. And today is just a hearing to decide whether he should be released or kept in the county jail until a formal trial. There's now a recess because the prosecutors with the government haven't provided the defense counsel any of the evidentiary evidence just meaning evidence. I was in the sitting there in the attendees listening to an ATF officer basically because I've covered this 6 times, just fire off lie after lie after lie after lie after lie. And this is only the first hearing that I've witnessed, so I can only imagine what goes on every day. There's literally a railroading going on in the North Dakota legal system here of Native Americans, non-Native environmentalists trying to support the Native Americans against the Dakota Access Pipeline. Lies that I heard just now included that there's only been 32 injuries as part of the Dakota Access Line protests. I mean, some of these protests, there's been 32 injuries just that day, and this has been going on for 6 months. You have people, their arms being maimed. You have a woman who lost her eyesight. You have people who have broken arms, legs. You have people who went into cardiac arrest. You have 200 people who had hypothermia on November 20th due to police officers shooting freezing water. The list goes on, PTSD, mental issues. So there's no number for the amount of injuries, but an ATF officer who was there on the day that Michael Markus was last arrested, they've arrested him several times, said there's only been 32 injuries. There is also a bit of an effort to criminalize being a leader at camp. You heard the ATF officer on the stand several times describe Michael Markus as a bit of a camp leader. People listen to him. He incites riots. And the judge even used the term ringleader. So there's this almost criminalizing and making it negative to be a camp leader. Almost like if you're a camp leader and people follow your words or your prayer, that in turn means you were inciting a riot or doing something evil. There's also the ATF officer here was describing Michael Markus and other water protectors, I don't have the exact date, that they were throwing feces at officers, that they were throwing water bottles, that they were throwing rocks. I have been, at this point, probably dozens of demonstrations with water protectors. I've never once seen anything hurled at a police officer. Now, does that mean it's never happened? Of course not, because I wasn't at every single one. But I've been here since September, 6 different times. I probably covered dozens of demonstrations. Not once did I see water bottles, feces, any of this. So these are continued, I wouldn't even call them lies. They're fairy tales that ATF officers, prosecutors are concocting out of thin air. Another thing to take you behind the scenes, just for me to find out about this hearing today was a Herculean effort. I called Bismarck, I called Mandan, I called several attorneys to find out, is there a hearing for Michael Markus today? And I was told, oh, we don't have one on file. Yet all I had to do was actually ask water protectors, and yeah, there is a hearing. I wonder why they tell a journalist we don't know anything about a hearing, yet there is a hearing. So it seems like the legal system here doesn't really find it that important for journalists to have access to public hearings like this. I couldn't find it even online. There was nothing about a hearing for Michael Markus. Right next to me you have water protectors, Native Americans, non-natives praying and singing. This is after a judge denied the release of a water protector, Michael Markus, who's being held on really false charges, like many other water protectors. Basically, when the ATF officer said that Michael had admitted to pouring gasoline, they didn't provide evidence that he admitted to that. Do you know if he admitted to that?
He certainly did not admit to anything.
So
there's nothing to admit to.
So when they're saying he admitted it, I saw him shaking his head, no. But
Yep.
Basically you're saying they're just making that up because obviously if he admits to it, then they have a stronger case.
Yeah, they've completely twisted his words, but all of the stuff that was given in court is not something that is necessarily substantial for a trial. It was literally just the affidavit that they had as a warrant to have an excuse to arrest him. That's all this was. So for the fact that that there would even be ATF giving testimony at a bond hearing, that never happens. It's very obvious that they're doing this as an act of desperation to get him to become a poster child for the camp, and completely blowing this stuff out of proportion.
I just want to be clear, so crystal clear. When the ATF officer said he admitted during their interrogation that he had poured gasoline, that's not true.
He blatantly told me over and over again he never admitted to anything. His exact words to me today were, that's their interpretation of what I told them.
Mm-hmm.
Their interpretation.
Right. And why?
They're twisting words, they're splitting hairs, that's just what they always do.
And the final time that he was arrested, he's been in jail now for a week consecutively. What did they Over a week, sorry. What did they even pick him up for? What were the charges that they just picked him up for?
They said it was an outstanding warrant, but he just got out of jail. And to this day, we're not really clear of if they actually picked him up on an outstanding warrant or if it was for a warrant he already turned himself in for.
Right.
For charges that he was supposed to make maybe a first court appearance for. They said there was a complaint that was given. But when they arrested him, he was walking on our side of the river, putting up our prayer ties.
I want to ask you, do you have any evidence that he lit gasoline? Because I didn't hear any evidence exhibited today. Do you have any evidence of that?
I don't have anything to say to you right now.
You have nothing to say? So a gentleman's going to prison or he's on trial. You say he lit gasoline, and you say he admitted that, but there's no evidence of that. And you were up there saying that he admitted he lit gasoline. Do you have evidence of that or no?
I said I'm not talking to you right now.
Okay, so water protectors like him, you call them agitators or ringleaders. Is it a crime to protest in America? Is it a crime to be a camp leader? Because it seemed like you were trying to describe him as an agitator or a camp leader. Is that a crime in America? So the ATF's position, if you protest or you're a camp leader, it's a crime. Okay. Basically, that gentleman was the ATF officer that just testified against a water protector named Michael Markus. He put out information without having any evidence. He says that the water protector told him that he poured gasoline on the bridge, and not him, but other people then lit vehicles on fire. The water protector, Michael Markus, says he did not light gasoline on anything, and he did not tell that officer that he poured gasoline. That's the main reason they're holding him right now, because that officer said, Michael Markus, they have evidence that he poured gasoline. This is evidence that is concocted out of thin air, just like evidence against Brennan Nastasio, Red Fawn, Mike Fazig, Israel Hernandez. I could go on and on and on. What's happening here in North Dakota is police who are bowed down to by the legal system, the judges. They're allowed to just say people are doing X, not provide evidence, create evidence out of thin air, get away with it, and put Native Americans in prison for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, possibly life. That gentleman that I just confronted who wouldn't talk to me is an ATF officer. He's an officer of the government. We pay for his fucking bill. We pay for his paycheck, and he not only will not talk to us, but he's allowed to concoct evidence out of thin air. Meanwhile, Native Americans been in jail for a week on nothing. On nothing. He also, on the stand, said 32 water protectors. There's been 32 incidents of injuries. I've been to demonstrations that there's been 32 injuries within 15 minutes. This man just said there was 32 injuries in over this 7 or 8 month demonstration where police and water protectors have clashed. It's not been a clash because this side has been peaceful. That side's been shooting off grenades, tear gas, and rubber bullets. So that's a lie. He also lied that water protectors have lit vehicles on fire. Again, no evidence has ever been shown that water protectors lit vehicles on fire. You know what they're saying is the evidence? People holding up flares. So if I hold up a flare, that means I lit the camera on fire. You might think I'm getting a little hysterical, but the point is, what's happening in North Dakota is a quiet crime. But it's not crimes perpetrated by Native Americans, it's crimes perpetrated by the government and the police. There is a notion here, this officer is a prime example, where if an officer says something, if an officer suggests that a Native American, a white dude, whoever, has done something, it's fact. It's fact. Well, you just saw. Not only will he not talk to me, but he, on the stand, told lie after lie after lie. I'm going to stay on him.